Okay, so left hand one was your first one. The red line on both these on the sort of that trail hip, okay? So the first one you can see sort of slide through that red line there. You're not really turning your body as much as opposed to more swaying and your arms kind of pulling your body around, okay? So this position here now, hips gone very much laterally to your right side or your trail side. Because of that position you were getting in, the impact was very tough to kind of come back to the golf ball. Your hands are behind the golf ball. Your hip does come back the correct side of the red line, but it should be even there should be more daylight there than it was to start with, okay? And you just can't move far enough, quick enough in the time frame from there to impact is about a third of a second. So, and if you did, you'd probably fall over, which is why you did one a minute ago where you sort of stepped over. You were trying really hard to get forward, and you lose your balance, okay? So that was your backswing before. This one here now on the right hand side with that better hip turn, you can see as we're rotating now, the buttons on your top there turning and twisting. The hip now you can see going back behind you, and you're making the swing there, okay? Now, could we go back a little bit further? Possibly, okay? But I would have to go a lot further. I mean, interestingly, we're actually starting to hinge the wrist a bit more now, which is a newfound thing for you. I've not mentioned that. I always said to you from day one, and I'll continue to say that, you don't need to hinge the wrist any more than you feel comfortable. But if you do, it's not the worst thing in the world. You've got a window of where you can be, and you want to stay within that kind of comfort zone, yeah? This one here now has still got enough wrist hinge there, but if it goes more, I'm not going to say, oh, it's too much. If it was going less, then maybe we might sort of tweak it out. But at the moment now, you could go kind of anywhere from there to there, and you'd be absolutely fine, okay? But a better hip turn there on the way back. Now, yes, on the way back down, you move away from that red line. Impact, your hands are still behind the ball. We're not going to look at that today because that's getting too many things to worry about. This is more kind of a secondary thing going forward there. Starting to get your hands sort of towards the left side and then through. And again, the foot being back here is to be expected because it's kind of what you've been doing for a few games back after the injury, okay? But the pleasing thing is that hip is rotating now, and you're rotating around that right foot there. You're not sliding through that red line. And again, with some practice, it's just doing that to the point where it becomes what you have to do. At the moment, you've got a conscious thought about this right hip, and you can do it. So and again, as always, you're someone who very quickly gets to what I call a conscious confident stage. You can certainly move your hips better. You're very aware of your own sort of space and air kind of thing, and how your body moves. You can adapt very quickly. Unfortunately, we can't do three things at once. So get that hip working to the point where it just becomes second nature. There's no thought about it at all. And then probably next session, a month's time or whatever, we'll start working at that transition down, how the body's going to be in terms of impact. So impact, your trail hip would probably be somewhere around here. Your lead hip would be somewhere there. And the hands would be somewhere there. But that's for another day kind of going forward. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's going to be the thing to work on there. That takeaway now with the hips. Move that hip a bit more in the backswing as a rotation. And like I say, I do that work up against the wall so you can feel that hip movement. If you've got the alignment sticks, if you've got an alignment stick, put it through a belt loop there.
I used to do it regularly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you've got that alignment stick, make sure when you're up against the wall here now, you're not just creating space by kind of just pushing away from the wall and sort of straightening out this right leg. You're creating space by turning. So with the alignment stick there, if you rotated correctly, the alignment stick would be this way. If you just pushed off this leg away from the wall, the stick would kind of still be in this line here, sort of going there, and you're just going, well, have I done it? Yes, you've created space, but you've done so kind of a fake turn. And that's the thing, we can do things the right way or a modified way. And unfortunately in golf we get caught out quite quickly if we do it a modified way. Eventually you can have to use compensations and you keep chasing your tail. Yeah, you could do some reasonable shots that way, but from a consistency standpoint, our bad shots are just generally worse, yeah? And as a better player, and that's something that you sort of strive towards, and you certainly are anyway, your bad shots aren't horrific, yeah? Relative to you, you hit some bad shots, a few top shots to you, that's your bad shot now. Whereas some people are like, yes, it's gone 70 yards, I'll take it, great, yeah? You want to get a bit more improved on that one, okay? Make sense then, yeah?
Lovely,
so
thank
work
you.
on that, then have a couple more, then we'll go through the bag and try to get some longer clubs as we go through, okay? But it's working on that hip movement to get that change.
If you don't have a lesson, you just go down the
Of course you do, yeah. But you go back to what feels comfortable. And again, I always refer back to that little booklet from, I think, 94 was the original date. That hasn't changed. I'm still me. You're still you. And you'll always be what you do. And you'll always find that some of the swing, more so the swing adjustments, but your long game with the posture, you've done that so much now, you can't not do it probably, can you? Yeah. But the swing will always revert back to old habits. Just, that's human nature, I guess, isn't it? So